wonder what she thought when she got my picture of my office.
Mine too. She's.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Barb from Nancy Jo Ryan's office, and today we're going to talk about how to organize your office space. So most of what we're going to talk about is your physical working space. So just wanted to kind of start out with kind of a fun little illustration. So I have 24 fake dollar bills here. All right. So we have 24 dollar bills. Each dollar represents an hour in our day. So 8 hours, we're going to take 8 hours away. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 hours is what we spend for sleeping, right? All right, so this is what we have left. All right, and then, so how much would you say we spend a day getting ready for the day? Anybody?
An hour.
An hour. So we'll take another hour out. All right, and then how about meal preparation and eating and cleaning up?
3.
All right, so we're going to just get rid of half of our day is spent just on those things. So here's what we have left. We have 12 hours left in our day, right? So out of those 12 hours, let's talk about our office. When you're in your office, how much time might you spend a day looking for something? We need a few more dollars that way, right? How many dollars are spent or hours might be spent because when you walk into your office, maybe it doesn't feel like a place that you want to be in, so you might procrastinate, like getting to work or getting jobs done because it's overwhelming sometimes. So we're going to take a couple more dollars away, right? So I think what you're going to find, and I do want to thank those of you who sent pictures. We'll look at them in a little bit. And I'll be honest, some of them were a little overwhelming. I looked at the pictures and I thought, that's not a space that I would be comfortable working in. And I think what happens is you really lose good productive work time if you haven't invested time to create a really nice, functional workspace for yourself. So hopefully a couple of basic things I'm going to share with you today will help you at least get started in that process. And then that will hopefully make a big difference in you being able to get into your office and function and do things well. So we're going to talk about the top challenges of working from home because, all of that is part of it, a part of your productivity. I have a really easy rating system that I can share with you on how to help you organize your space. I'm going to tell you about what's called the trash system, which will help you. Another easy thing to remember to help you figure out how to process paper. There's a lot, even though we're in this digital age, there's still so much paper. So, and I think the same principles on that are going to also relate to the desktop on your computer because those can get a little cluttered as well. And again, if that desktop is cluttered, it's also hard to find things. You're searching and finding, and it makes it difficult to work productively. And then we're going to look at some of the pictures of the that were sent in, and maybe we can talk together about what could be some solutions to create a better, more functional space. And I think the final thing that will be maintenance. That's really important is maintenance. Okay, so if you guys have your mics on, let's talk a little bit together. And why don't you, if a few people could just share with me, what do you find are a few of the most challenging things about working in a home-based office? Nobody have any challenges? Is that?
Paper. I love paper. I hate paper.
Paper. Yes. Okay. And I'm sure we all can agree, it can get out of control, paper, what to do with it. So that's great. We're going to address that. What about do you find, because your office is in your home, what about boundaries and private time and, distractions? Those are all things that kind of play into the productivity of working from home. And for some people, it's also, maybe there's really not enough space. Maybe when you have new people that are joining the company and they're just starting, they don't realize that if you're working from home, you need a place to work from, and they haven't thought about designating a spot or a space for things like that. I think sometimes what happens, and I'm pretty sure you'll all agree with this, sometimes your office or your desk can become sort of an unofficial depository. You know, like you find something that's like, oh, where does this go? Well, I don't know. Here, I'll just put it here for now. And it gets plopped down, probably in a place it doesn't really belong. It's sitting next to it. You know, it's just sitting there and you're going to get to it. Again, then the space itself could be an issue, but there are so many wonderful creative things. I mean, Pinterest is great because you can find a lot of great ideas in how to create really cute, functional, nice spaces in little spots, like in a closet or a little, you know, portable thing. So there are solutions out there. Basically, I think what most people need to do is you have to look at your stuff and you have to decide one of two things. What things do I need to work with? Those are the things that you want to keep in your space. And what things do I need to store? You know, of course, those are going to be things that you don't want to get rid of, but you don't necessarily need to have it at your fingertips either. So there's stuff that you need to work functionally, and then stuff that you need, but you don't need it right where you work. All right, so I'm going to go over the rating system, and I'm going to post the rating system and the trash system for you, so you can have that, and then you can share it with your team or use it for yourself. The rating system is really pretty easy, and you know, once you get the concept, you'll kind of understand how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to rate everything on a scale of 1 to 7. All right, and so the things that you give a 1 to are the things that you need at your fingertips, that you use on a daily basis, that you're constantly grabbing, stuff that you really have to have close by. A 7 is going to be something that you might need to refer to it or grab it once or twice a year. And then we're going to work on the numbers in between. So when you're looking at the stuff that you're trying to organize, think of it in terms of the function. What is the function of this? And how do I use it? And do I need to have it at my fingertips? Or can it be moved further away? That will help you place everything in your office. All right, so let's start with number 1. So number 1 is, if you're sitting at your desk space where you work, the things that are number 1 are that there's everything that needs to be within arm's reach. So for example, basic office supplies, you know, obviously pens, pencils, stapler, all those little things that, you know, you need throughout the day to work with paper. Maybe note cards, stationery, envelopes, if you write notes to people, maybe your recognition notes, thank you notes, labels, postage, mailing things all the time. Your current project files. So there are tons of different kinds of filing systems and ways to get that stuff. That would be another whole class that we could do on just files, but there's a lot of information you can find about that. But what I call a project file, so for example, right now, like the files that I have, and mine are vertical. So files all should be vertical. So I like to use, you know, these little stands. You know, you can see the vertical files. And I especially like the ones they go up on an angle, because then you can see all of the labels. So I have kind of 2 sets on my desk. On this side, I've got one that's got, like I make a lot of file folder labels for Nancy, and, you know, maybe we do print labels for mailings and things like that. So I've got a few of those at my fingertip, because my printer's right here. And if I need to print labels, I just slide right back, put them in, and it's easy. I don't have to get up and go anywhere to get anything. It's at my fingertips. I have my to-do file, and I'm not here a whole lot. So when I need something, I have a file folder marked to do, and I know that whatever I put in this file folder, the next time that I come into the office, this is what I got to work on. You know, it's in this folder. Another thing that I do is I help Nancy with training. So I have another folder for ideas for training topics. So at different times when Nancy needs a training or we're going to write something, I have a file that I can pull from things that we might have talked about that we're going to do. Nancy does a lot of downline travel, so I have another file for her our downline training materials. Again, because these are at my fingertips, and that's the stuff I work on most of the time. On the other side, I have another one, and right now, because National Conference is coming up, I have quite a nice pocket folder, and inside of that, I have different file folders for the different things for National Conference. So I've got, recognition, her room gathering, registration and accommodations, other correspondence, agendas, that type of thing. So I have a folder there. So as things come in for National Conference, I have it all in one place. It's really easy to get my hands on. Does that make sense? Have everything vertical? Those like your ones. Now, I don't have a drawer. I used to always work at a desk that had a drawer, and that's where I'd have all my pens and pencils. I literally got at the Deals store for $5 this little tiny desktop thing. So you can, be creative if you don't have a drawer. If you do have a drawer, get something with dividers so you can put all your pens, pencils. I've got my paper clips and extra staples, and I've got my staple remover. I got, even because I don't have a lot of space, a little tiny stapler. My pens, pencils, scissors. This is really easy because I don't have a desk drawer, but this is all I really need. And I need this at my fingertips because this is the kind of stuff you use frequently at your desk. Most people probably don't have a landline anymore. So of course, when you go to work, make sure you bring your cell phone. If you do have a landline, you want that close to your desk space so that you can grab it. If you're left-handed, you want it on the, to your left, so you can grab it with your left hand. If you're right-handed, put your phone on the right so you can grab it with your right hand. The other thing, of course, your computers. And a lot of people use binders, like reference binders. Maybe you have a quick reference binder, or you have binders for your team members, people that you make phone calls to all the time. Those would be ones. You want them really close so you can grab them when you're working. All right, anything that you're going to rate a 2 or 3. Those are items that you're going to keep, like maybe in your cabinets, on a shelf behind you, in a filing facility, something like that, or on some of your shelves. So these would be things like maybe your host packets, your recruit packets, the materials that you need to put them together. It's really nice, if you have the stacks of the information that you put in each one, so you can grab them really quick, your envelopes or whatever you put them in, so you can assemble those, and then you want a spot for assembled ones as well. So if you need them when you're going to a show or you see somebody, you can grab it really quick. So you don't need to have those like right at your fingertips because you don't deal with that moment by moment every day, but close enough by that you can assemble them quickly and have them ready to go at any time. Resource books, whatever you might have for resources, something that you refer to on a fairly regular basis, but maybe not every day, but you want to be able to grab it when you can. And maybe like your recognition, if you're a director and you do recognition, you're going to be dealing with that at least once a month. So you want to make sure that you have that nearby so it's easy for you to assemble it when it's time for you to do the recognition for your people. That'd be like PC dollars, and if you do little placards or whatever you give to your people, you want to have that nearby. So those would be 2. Anything that's a 4 or 5, those are the things that you use, I don't know, maybe once or twice a month. Like I have a little filing cabinet behind me, and I have a lot of material in there that if I need, I know it's stuff that I would refer to, but I don't need it on a daily basis, but it's not too far away, so it's easy to get to, but it's not taking up my immediate workspace. If you collect like CDs or DVDs, things like that, you're not watching them every day. You don't need those at your fingertips, and those can go a little further away from your space. Perhaps like when you get products in and you have like all the new products, or maybe you've got extra sets of them, that stuff has to go somewhere, right? You don't take duplicates in your kit, and not everybody puts the second one in their kitchen because maybe you use the one from your kit. So if you have stock products that you keep, those don't need to be in your workspace either. Those can be stored somewhere, either up higher or inside something. They don't need to be right in your immediate workspace. Those would be 4s or 5s. Even like if you save paperwork from your shows, you probably only need the last year close by to refer to something if somebody has a problem. But a couple of years before that, maybe the 2 or 3 previous years, you might want those because you might still get calls on some of those. But again, they don't need to be taking up space where you're working. And 6s and 7s, I mean, that's stuff that you hardly ever need. You might not want to get rid of it, but you want to keep it. So maybe tax records, you know, your really, really old show paperwork, if you're not comfortable trashing that, you want to save it. You can put those in boxes and file them in your garage, your attic, your basement. Just make sure that you label the outside of the boxes specifically with the years, the dates, and a list of what's in it. You know, I mean, as you're putting the stuff in, as you're cleaning out your office and you're putting them in those boxes, you can be just have a sheet up and start typing in the contents as you're putting it in the box. To print that sheet out, to tape it to the outside of the box, and now it's easily labeled. So when you need to go look for something, and over the years, you're going to accumulate more boxes. So when you go to look for something, it's like, oh, not like, my gosh, what box could this be in? You can just look at the outside and you'll know easily where you can find what you're looking for. All right, so any questions on the rating system? It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple, but it's really effective if you put it into play. Okay, so, all right, so based on the rating system, we're gonna look at some of the images that people sent me of their office space. So, and again, thank you for sending those in. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna share screen. I'm new at this, so give me a moment. And we'll be good to go here.
Oh,
I'm already panicking.
I don't feel so bad anymore.
No names. You know what? I'll be honest. I don't know who these offices belong to. So I gave you some funny names when I started looking at the pictures. This one I think I called needs maintenance. Okay. All right. Now I'm looking at this and all right. So a couple things I see. First of all, it looks like it's a space that's shared maybe with a family room somewhere. So it's not a private office in its own room, so you can't shut the door and walk out. Now, I do see some positive things in this office. I do see there is quite a bit of vertical storage going on, and that's a good thing. You can see the vertical files in a couple of places. I see the computer and a phone by the chair, so that means that that person is definitely got their little workspace. What I do see is also a lot of piling. So if you can make your mantra, file it, don't pile it, you'll keep your space a lot more functional. What do you guys observe in this picture? Based on what we saw, can somebody give me like one suggestion of something that they, you know, how you would rate maybe something that would be a 7 that doesn't really belong there? People aren't sure. It's kind of hard to tell with other people's stuff. I mean, I see so go ahead.
I think I see things that tend to happen in my office too after being around a long time is you have bags and totes and things that just you don't want to get rid of, and so they just sort of accumulate around and then they just stack. They take up a lot of space, but you got it at a meeting or something, and then you come home with a picture that they gave you at a meeting. I think that's some of the stuff I would think was in there because it kind of looks like my office gets.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true to the person who sent the picture, but it's like stuff that.
That's true for Nancy Jo too. She's got a lot of bags, but they're in the garage. They're not in her workspace because it's not something she uses every day. So, well, what now, you guys, what would you do with all that? I mean, what is a practical way that you could deal with that issue? I mean, everybody probably has it.
Well, I know what we're doing. At our next team meeting, everybody's bringing all of their bags and we're just letting people at our meeting take them.
Great idea.
We're giving it to someone else.
Well, if they don't have a bag, then it'll get repurposed and it'll give the bag a life again where it's being used and it's getting some function out of it, which is a great thing.
I would use those for incentives.
Oh, and now Nancy Jo suggested if you've got some bags that are in good condition, you could use them as an incentives or gifts for your people as well.
For doing X.
For doing, set up a challenge for them. I guess there's nothing wrong either with, if you know you like the sentimental value of it, take pictures of it, save the pictures. I mean, I think you reach a point, at least I know I'm a little bit older and I'm kind of at that point in life where, you know, you spend the first half of your life accumulating stuff and the second half wondering where did it all come from and how do I get rid of it? So, you know, maybe you're just at a point where you can get to that place where you can say, I don't really need to keep this, but I want to keep the memory, and take pictures of it and make a memory album on your computer of the pictures of the things that you've, you know, earned or have gotten through the years at different meetings and things like that. Anybody else have suggestions for what to do with like things like the bags and the pictures?
What kind of lighting would you recommend for that space?
Lighting. Well, no, I think each person has to determine how much light you like. I like a lot of light, but if you're in a darker space, definitely, you know, maybe some track lighting on the ceiling, but you want to make sure you have maybe at least something on your desk for like good reading lights. Like over here by the computer, if it were me, I would want a light there, because if you're looking at papers and you're looking at your computer, sometimes it's hard to see the papers if there's not enough light there. So if you don't have something right over where your workspace, then you have to have some really, really good, I would think, ceiling lighting or window lighting as well. So I would think, at least for this office, I would say a table lamp I would put like by the workspace. But lighting is definitely a good point, because you do want to make sure that you have enough light in your environment if that's what you like. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this one I think is, I would call a piler. I don't see anything vertical. And so the problem with stacking stuff on top of each other is you can never find it. I mean, you don't know what pile it's in. So, however, I will say this is a very nice little office corner to work in. You've got some really nice opportunities to organize this space. I mean, it could be really, really beautiful. The bulletin board, it's great to have that above your desk. I can't tell how much of the bulletin board is just memorabilia and how much of it is really something that the person needs to work with. There's some pictures mixed in there. I don't know. I think if it were me and I had that board, I might put all my pictures across the top and keep the bottom place for documents that I need to glance at throughout the day. Definitely would want to get some vertical files on here. I see a lot of pink slips, and I'm assuming those are probably some kind of drawing slips or something like that. Probably. What do you guys think that is? Does anybody know?
Okay, so I'll admit it's me. So
what are all the pink slips?
so they are drawing slips from bridal fair. So I do have vertical to the left of the desk.
Okay.
And however, you'll see another picture that I sent you. I don't even sit there because I don't like sitting in the corner. So
Okay.
and so my TV is, so I have a little table in front of the TV. So
Oh, that would be, wait, where did that one go? Wait. I missed that one? I thought I must have missed it on here. Okay, I did see that one. And I wondered about the television in the workspace, to be honest with you. They're multitasking to the nth degree.
what's not on now, but normally I mean, half the time I don't even see what's on, but I just need that TV on. So then if I am doing something like not real productive work, I can be in here entering a show while I'm watching TV and that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, then if that's what you like and you don't want to change that, okay, I would clear off this desktop, and I would maybe that's where you're going to put all your information for creating your packets. You could have them in little boxes or bins across the top so you can grab things really quick. Or you could put a little extra shelving in there so you would even have more space. You could reorganize your binders. I see you've got a lot of binders. Do you really need them all? Are they all full? Are they empty? It looks like you have them labeled, which is a good thing. But maybe it's time to reassess, if this office has been functioning for quite some time, to reassess the necessity of each of those binders. Are they still helping you be productive in your office, or is it something you put together a few years ago and you haven't used it since then?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? take the time to go through those and do, and we have to do that here. I mean, we create a binder for a special workshop, and then that information is old and it's gone. So, you know, we have to clean it out, but you don't do that daily. You know, that's something that you do. We'll talk about that when we get to maintenance. But it is a really nice little space. Why don't you like working in the corner?
I don't know, because I don't like the TV behind me.
Okay. All right. So you just have a unique way that you like to work.
And
So
I just recently did that, like just probably in the past 6 months. I'm like tired of staring at the wall because the window's on the other side. I don't know.
okay. Is there any way to rearrange the room?
No, not with that kind of desk, because I thought about getting a different desk.
Okay. Well, another option, and I know this isn't like, oh, just work with what you have, but if you really wanted to create a new space, sell that desk and buy something that you can put in front of the window and have a nice workspace that's permanent without having to constantly go back and forth, set up a table,
Right.
you can change it. So I mean, it's not like it's not like you don't have that option, you do. And if you're going to change your workspace, you get the money back from the desk to invest in another one, or if you're gonna, you don't have, for the expense, do a couple more shows, and that is designated for your creating a new workspace by doing a few more shows. All right, next one. This is a nice, simple space. I can't really tell what else is in this room, but my initial thoughts on this one was it's a really beautiful space with a beautiful view right by the window, but the desktop is not very functional. There's really no space there to work. I mean, there's barely space to put a computer. And it looks like there's some stuff piled on the floor. I see a basket on the left there on the floor. It looks like a big basket with stuff piled in it. And then, again, those are probably the Pampered Chef bags under the desk. Any suggestions that you guys, from what we talked about, what would you do different with this space to make it more functional?
Okay, so that's mine again.
Guys are so good, you're
it's
kidding.
it's not a desk. It's just the table that I inherited from my husband's grandmother. And so I just stuck it in my office, and it's just by the window, and I just put stuff on it.
Okay, but do you have a work desk as well?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Well, I could probably use that as my desk and get rid of the other one.
Oh, well, you probably could. I mean, and if you did that, I would definitely move the printer onto maybe a file. Do you have filing cabinets in the office too?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, I thought maybe you were someone who just had like a tiny workspace and this was it. You had a little corner somewhere.
I know. I have a big office, lots of cupboards.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, but this is your extra desk. I mean, again, but everything is flat on there. So this might be a good place for your 2s and 2-3s or 3-4s. It's not right by your workspace, but you might need access to it. So again, I would consider if you took that basket on the floor and somehow maybe, I can't tell exactly how big it is, but you could turn it and you could still put vertical files in it. If you want to keep it looking cute, and use that. But again, file your stuff vertically so it's easy to find instead of spreading it out, in piles like that. Okay. This one was another piler, I thought. What do you guys think about this space? What would you do different in here?
It's so hard to comment on somebody else's desk, but my desk looks kind of like that, where there's a shelf up above and there's really no, even to mine, there's no organization to it. There's just stuff up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I keep looking around my desk. I didn't send in pictures, but I keep looking around like, oh yeah, I need to fix that. And oh, I could use this a little bit differently.
Okay, if you could envision this space completely stripped down, just the desks, no paper, all the paper's gone. You're starting with a clean slate. The desk, where the little shelf is above the desk, what do you think that would be 1s and 2s? What should go there? What could go there? That would be a good close space. What could you fit in that space?
A vertical file holder.
I'm not sure if that's deep enough up top, but if it's deep enough, yeah, you could do that. You could do smaller bins, like some little shelf bins that you could put up there and label them with, again, like your things that you have to get your hands on really quick. If you
Up on
can't do it
that
up and
shelf.
down, maybe binders. Again, I can't tell space-wise if that's tall enough for a binder, but you could, if it's not too tall, you could stack 2 or 3 binders with their labels facing you. And so you could grab them, like say you had one for your team members, one, say maybe your hosts or follow-up calls if you're a binder person. If you have them labeled, you can just reach up and grab it and, it's right there at your fingertips. Plenty of space on the desk. You could put a cork board on the back of it so you could tack some things up that, maybe some of your motivational things or phone lists, things that you use all the time. I definitely would put a vertical holder on the desk. Now I can't tell. I'm just guessing from this. There's 2 chairs, so I'm guessing that there's 2 separate workspaces here. One on the left and one on the right. If you look at the picture up on the left-hand side. So I'm not sure if that section on the right, it appears to be something built in. That would be a great place to build some shelves. And then you've got a nice space underneath. Again, if you've got 1 or 2 of your bags that you use frequently, that would be a good storage place for those. But again, you're going to rate the things from 1 to 7 to decide what things are going to stay in your workspace. And I'd be willing to bet that every single person that has an office probably has some stuff that needs to go someplace else remote. So that's something that as you're going through your offices, you can be thinking about. Okay, this person looks like they have quite a bit of space to use. It's just everything seems to be in a little disarray. It doesn't really seem to have too much like in the way of, I don't know, maybe you walk in and don't know where to begin on something like this. I do see some vertical files. That's good. Filing cabinet over there right by the desk. That's great because that's close to the workspace. Looks like it's probably below ground and just have that one window, but at least you've got some light, which is good. It's funny because I see vertical files on top of the filing cabinet that only have like 1 piece of paper in them. So, that's probably not being utilized as much as it could be. I'm looking at the space at the bottom, the picture at the bottom. That looks like a lot of stock product. So is it
closet, Barb?
That's a closet.
This is mine. I said this is a lousy time to take pictures because I'm getting ready for a son's graduation too. So there's a lot of stuff that's normally not there on the floor.
Okay.
It's usually not so terrible, but the one with the bottom, that's a closet. So I have a pretty big closet too.
Oh, yeah. My only suggestion for the closet would be shelves. Put in more shelves because you got boxes stacked up. We want that bottom box. You got to move a lot of stuff to get.
I know.
Right? And Nancy's got she's got some beautiful racks, all shelving in her garage where she's got all of her stock products.
Gorilla racks.
Gorilla racks is what they're called.
Menards.
And you can get them at Menards.
Will she ever take a picture? I know I need more than that stuff. So
yeah, kind of like the one you got on the. With the spices and stuff on it. But it looks like you still have quite a bit of wall space in there. And I would definitely think that if you could get a few more shelves in there, that would make it a really nice storage place for your products. Put them all in there. Any other particular thing? See, I think we can just kind of see everybody has similar issues as far as what happens to our offices when you don't maintain them. Okay, so... And then this one came through, which I think they labeled it my messy office space. This is one of the ones I really felt overwhelmed when I looked at it. This is too much stuff. I'm guessing, looking at this one, that a lot of this stuff probably either needs to be thrown away or stored away because it doesn't look like a lot of the stuff in the picture is pertinent to daily work. Yeah. Do I have that right? What do you think? There's a lot of books. Again, books are great. Are you using them all? Do you need to keep them all in your office? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they go in a closet, because you don't need them all the time, but you might want to refer back to them. They don't necessarily have to be right there in your workspace. But you got a nice big wall in the back there and maybe a bigger storage wall unit or something to get some of that stuff off the floor. I'm assuming there's a desk over there next to the printer to the right. Again, you're going to want to get vertical. And this stuff, a lot of the stuff could probably go in your basement, your garage, your attic. So, but when you're looking for designing spaces, just go on, look in Pinterest, look at these cute, fun things. This is a closet, the white one. I just thought, what a great way to utilize a closet and make a really nice little workspace. You can see the shelving up there, how nice you can have your computer paper, some of the smaller things that you need to grab from time to time, little things that you work with close by. The one on the bottom right, again, is really utilizing the shelf in that workspace for a home office. If you don't have, furniture type of units, you just want to do shelving. It's a less way to stay organized and still make the space, you can still make it look really pretty. So lots of good ideas there. That was all I had on the pictures. So let's talk about processing the paper, and we're going to use the trash system for that. Okay, the trash system, we're going to use the word trash. And so when you think about this system, I want you to think about it in terms of both your desktop on your computer and your actual physical desk space that you're working in. This is a really easy way. You just remember the word trash, and it will help you ask yourself questions about how do I process all this stuff. All right, so the first one, here before I start there, the reason that we tend to clutter our spaces is one is indecision, because we get a piece of paper and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this right now. You know what? I'm just going to put it here, and you just throw it somewhere. The other one is inconvenience. That it's inconvenient for me to take the time to walk 2 steps and take 2 seconds to put this in a file folder. I mean, we do that. So it's inconvenience and indecision, being indecisive, that leads us to, clutter up our workspaces. Okay, so we'll start with T. So as you're going through, let's say you get your mail, T, the first thing is toss it. Toss it. The question you ask yourself is, can this be thrown away? Can this be tossed? Do we really need to keep this? So for instance, when you get your mail, maybe open up your mail by a garbage can, and anything that's the junk mail, if it's a flyer or something, you're not really going to look at it, throw it away, throw it away. Throw away envelopes. Don't keep envelopes from your mail. It's just more clutter. Just keep the contents of it, unless there's some reason you think you have to have it, but most people don't need to save the envelopes from things. Get rid of all that stuff. So first question is can I get rid of it? Do I really need it? Can I toss it? R is for refer it. So is this email, is this piece of mail, is this something that I have to do? Or is it something that I need to ask somebody else to do? Somebody in my family, somebody on my team, is it something I can delegate and pass on? So decide if it's your responsibility, or is it something that you're going to give to somebody else? So ask yourself that question. Is it my responsibility? Who else can handle this? Okay, A is for act on it. And act on it pretty much means either do it right now or know exactly when you're going to do it. So you're going to take, this was an interesting statistic. The average person handles a piece of paper 8 to 10 times. So if you can get it down to handling it 1 time, maybe 2, you're going to be saving a lot of time by acting on things as soon as you can. So when you act on it, you're asking yourself, when will I do this? Is it something I can do right now? Or what day am I going to do it? Now, whatever your system is, maybe you use an electronic calendar to schedule things. Maybe you use a paper calendar. Maybe you use to-do lists or a tickler file. There's lots of different methods out there for keeping track of what you have to do. But when that task comes in, then you need to put it somewhere. Either do it right away or put it on your calendar for when you're going to do it. And then if it's something like you have a piece of paper that you have to refer back to get that, you need to have a place that you're going to keep that. Is it going to go in your to-do folder? There's a cat. In your to-do folder, you got to have a designated place so you don't lose it. Don't put it in a pile. Don't put it in a pile. All right, so make sure that you give it a deadline when you're going to accomplish this task. All right, the next one is S is for save it. So these are items that don't necessarily need action, but you want to save it because you need it for something in the future. A really good example of that is when you buy something new and you get a warranty booklet. Well, you don't want to throw those away, but you need to put them in a place where you can find them quickly. Some people use binders, some people use files. That would not be a one. It doesn't need to be at your fingertips at your desk, but you need to put that in a place where you know where it is. You know all your warranty booklets are in the same place or whatever the documents are, and you can easily find them. So that would be save it. The next one is house it. So house it means you're going to put some things. These are the things that, again, you think about the rating system. These are your 5, 6s, 7s. You're going to put it somewhere away from your workspace. You're going to keep it. You're going to give it a home because you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. But you're going to figure out if you're going to house it by asking the question, like, how often do I really need access to this thing or this document? So that's the trash system. Yes.
There is someone making noise, and I don't know who it is, but I think they've kind of checked out of the meeting. Can you maybe look around and mute anyone that's not muted?
I think that might have been from us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Nancy's son just left, and yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that. Someone did just leave the meeting, but they weren't part of it, to begin with. Sorry about that. Did you miss something? So let me just go over trash again. T is toss it. R is refer it or delegate it to somebody. A is act on it, either right now or schedule when you will act on it. S is save it. Why do you ask yourself that question? Why do I need to save this? And then put it someplace and think of things in terms, again, of function. Put it someplace so you can find it. Or house it. I want to save it, but I don't need access to it. How often do I need access to it? And that will tell you where to put it. Hopefully that will help. All right, so any questions on the trash? He said the trash and the numbers, I'm gonna create a document, those documents. I've got them on the computer. I just got to tweak them up a little bit, and I'll get those to you or post them somewhere so you can get them. I'll let you know where they are.
Can I ask a silly question, Barb?
Yeah.
Just this is an example, and this is where I know my thinking just kind of goes through it. Like you said, I need it, but I probably don't need it tomorrow. Okay.
Yep.
So a prime example is like when we do all these vision boards or, these types of things where we set up our team things. Okay. So when you say keep it in a box, because right now it's in the bottom of a file cabinet, which I probably don't need it there. So those are things that you would say box up and label, like saying vision board, team meeting.
Wait. You have a vision board, but you're not using it?
Well, no, I'm using the vision board, but all the things when you supply, like.
Oh, the supplies for it. Oh,
supplies for it.
Okay, supplies for that, for something like that, that's something you need to get to. I would get like maybe a clear storage box and put all of those things together in that box and label it. And then you can store it anywhere you want. So it depends on how often you're going to refer to it. Again, use the 1 to 7 system. But again, you're not using that every day, the supplies. So you don't need it in your workspace. Take it and put it in the garage or someplace. So if I just walk in the garage, I got that whole box. You take that whole box into your office and now you can work with it. That's what I would do with that. Anybody else have a suggestion on how you do something different? Anybody else with stuff like that?
Barb, that was very simple, and thank you, but I needed you to say it out loud.
Isn't it funny? I mean, sometimes you got to hear somebody else say it.
Yeah. But I like that. I really do. The more that you're saying this, the more I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff that you noticed in my office that really could probably be in clear boxes and labeled.
Yeah.
Really,
it'll make it a lot easier for you too to function and find things. So filing isn't intended really just for storage. Filing is for finding things. That's really what a file system is about. Storage, the boxes, that's storage. You're putting something away that you're going to refer to once in a while. But when you're filing things in your workspace, you're filing it so you can find it, not just store it. And another interesting thing that you can do, if you have a lot of files because you've been with the business a long time, as you get something that you need to do, something comes in that you need to do, and you're going to file it somewhere and you're going to put it on your calendar, you might want to make a notation of where you filed it. It's in this folder. to yourself. So when that thing comes up on your calendar that you're going to do, it's like, oh, that's right. I put that in the blah, blah, blah folder, and then you can find it. So you might, teach yourself to give yourself reminders so you know where you put things until you get your system down, the way you like it. So, all right. So how do we get a space that works? It really comes down to maintenance and preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance is not doing yesterday's work today, but doing today's work today. Keeping up with it, maintaining it. So here's just a couple of things. Here's what I would do. I mean, and I'm not saying that, my workspace, like my desk at home, I have the same problems. I have a little desk. I'm not running a home-based business, but still my little home desk there. And mine does become that catch-all. I'll just put it here and I'll get to it and I'll put it here. Well, what I end up doing every now and then, after every couple of weeks, when I start to get a little behind, I literally take everything off my desk and I put it on the floor and I go through all the papers. I probably throw away 50% of what was on my desk, stuff I thought I was going to use and I didn't. And then I get organized with the other stuff and I make my list and I can get stuff done in like 2 days. I can get completely caught up. So, but it's, again, it's the maintenance thing. It's the maintenance thing of it. So, if your office space does feel really overwhelming, I know this, you need to set a time with yourself, an appointment, depending on how much work you think you need to do. It could be a morning. It could be 2 or 3 days. It could be a whole weekend or something. But I would strip my space down. And then I would start putting stuff back in that, I'd sit at my desk and think about, what do I do here? Okay, I need my paper clips and all that stuff. Where am I going to put it? Is it a desktop container? Is it in a drawer? All right, I need some vertical files. Okay, where will that go? And what things need to be there? I would build my space with the ones. And then your job would be to look at everything else that you've removed from your space and decide, where does that go? How much can you keep? How much can you store? And how much needs to be really close? That's where I would start. Then what you need to do is literally put on your calendar or develop it as a pattern that every Monday morning or every Sunday night or whatever, pick your day of the week. That's the day I'm going to in my office, I'm going to tweak it up. What does that mean?
I did it at night when everybody was sleeping.
Okay. So Nancy Jo just slipped me a note. What does that mean? Nancy Jo would do this, but she would do it at night after everybody went to bed. That was her time to do it. You have a glass of wine while you're doing it too, or a cup of tea, unless you want to sleep. Depends. Anyway, but put it on your do list. Or, what I do when I come to Nancy's office, because it's not my home and I can't just throw stuff there and leave it, is at the end of the day when I leave, I make sure my desktop is clean. Any work that I know I need to do the next day is in my folder. I mean, everything is put away and I know where everything is for the next day that I come in, so I don't lose track of the work that I have to do. I do keep a paper list. Again, it's not, I don't want to get my stuff too mixed up with Nancy's, and it's hard for me to put my work stuff for her on my personal, calendar. And that's what works for me. So you have to find what works for you. So clear your desk at the end of each day. When you do your office stuff, make sure everything is put back where you started. And that way, when you come in the next time, your office is clean and you're ready to go to work. You just go to your desk, you're ready to go to work. You might need to schedule a little bit. Once you get that done, once you get your office in a nice space, you might even schedule a little bit of your time each day to kind of make sure your space is maintained. Beginning of the day or the end of the day, it's a good time to do that. Remember to keep your priority projects like in your line of vision. So anything, maybe your monthly meetings, director meetings or consultant meetings, or any other special training, conference, show information, stuff that, again, those are your priority projects. Those are the stuff that need to stay on your desk. But every so often, a priority project is finished, it needs to go someplace else. Just keep that in mind.
Hey, Barb. One of the things, and I learned it through Pampered Chef, so you guys probably all know it, but this was so freeing to me. And that was that you do not have to keep your party order forms for years. they suggested in this training just having 3 folders, month 1, month 2, and month 3. And so the first month, you just put it in month 1. And when you get to the next month, you take those papers and put them into month 2. And you put month 2 into month 3. And month 3, sadly enough, month 3 goes into here. Okay, and then I'm supposed to go through it. I just haven't done it for a while. But you go through it and then pull out everything that has credit card info on it and shred it. And anything that doesn't can really go in the garbage. So that was
Easier just to shred the whole thing.
You could just shred the whole
Throw it away, then you don't have to take the time to look for credit card information.
True. I had a really tiny shredder, so I was yes.
Well, see, now
You're
there
right.
you go. If you want to be more functional, get a bigger shredder. Just little things like that. Like you can work with what you have, but do you want to spend that much time on that?
Oh, good point.
Do you know? You know what I'm saying?
You win. Plus, I think I can bring it somewhere and they'll shred it. So I should just dump them all out. Yeah, and just shred it.
Why take the time to look for credit card information if you don't need any of it? Just shred it all.
Right.
And it's done.
So that was super helpful. And the other thing, I don't know if you can see it back there, but do you see that little paper holder thing?
Yeah, that's nice.
Some gal on my team was moving and said, somebody can have this for $10. And I'm like, grab it. And at this point, if I didn't have it, I would totally make one. It makes packet making so easy.
Yeah.
Paper, regular paper,
All
labels.
the crafting stuff out there these days. I think you can probably buy stuff like that. If you look on, you can find anything online, anything, but
Yep.
stuff like that I think is available. Even office supplies. There have been things like that you can get. Not maybe as big as that, but that's really nice. Yeah, great idea. Yeah. Okay, so here's my last thing for you, unless you have any other questions. Okay, my last thing is, consider this. Suppose that you gave up 30 minutes of television time or Facebook time every day, and you were able to use that time to work on a few of those tasks that went undone that day. Maybe some of the inconvenient things that got thrown on your desktop, or the thing you're going to get to, or I need to put that on my calendar, but I haven't done that yet, that type of thing. Do you know that if you did that, if you gave up 30 minutes a day, if you exchanged your TV or FaceTime, Facebook time, for productive time, that would add 183 hours of productive work to your year. So that might give you a little bit more of this, right? That productivity, you can spend your time on income producing activity rather than constantly organizing and cleaning your office space. You can go into your office, you can go to work and feel good about it. So I'll end with this quote: if you really want to get organized, you will find a way. If you don't, you will find an excuse. True story, right? Yeah, we're all human. Any other questions or any other issues that you're having that I can help you with?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of you now do deposits for checks where you take the pictures. What do you do with all the checks?
That's a good question. What does the bank recommend?
I haven't asked.
Yeah, I would just call the bank and ask them what to do. Maybe they just say shred them.
Okay.
If you don't need them.
I have an answer for that.
Oh.
My bank suggested that you hang on to them for a week or two, make sure they clear, and then you can shred them. So they said if you want to be really safe, hang on to them for a month and then shred them.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, ladies. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at Nancy's office, and I'll be happy to answer them. And I will, I'll email the documents so you guys for sure have them and let you know where they are if you need to access them again. All right. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barb.
Get organized. Hey, wait. And if you do get organized and you redo your offices, send me pictures. I'd love to see it. Bye.
Bye.